Morning, guys. My bad. I feel like I'm getting later and later to stream every day. Pretty much just rolled out of bed and hopped on here. Gotta, I gotta stop doing that. One of these days, I'm gonna miss something at 7 a.m. Morning, the Fisk. Morning, Lauren. Morning, Jordan. Kukuro. A lot of thickly traded stocks today. I see a bunch of penny stocks on the scanner. Morning, Vito. For top leading gainers, a penny stock, which I'm not interested in. CYCU float is too high. AXTL, AXTU both don't have volume. Right at this daily level. Morning, momentum trader. Well, the relative volume on Goose is light because this is kind of a pop and drop stock. It's moved a couple times in the past couple of weeks with a bunch of volume. So, I mean, if we're thinking about my edges, this isn't doing anything out of the ordinary. It's just popping again, after hours. And it's a bit cheaper. So it's probably a no trade for me as well, but it is one of the only leading gainers that I'm remotely interested in. In CYCU, it's both a cheaper price and a 10 million share float. I suppose if it breaks over 3, maybe it'll it'll be continuation from the previous day, candle over candle on the daily. Well, actually, not candle over candle. The high on the daily was 184. It'll be high after hours was 3. But I don't know. Nothing looking fantastic. This is going to be really thickly traded. Yeah, it's stacked right now. Morning, adversary. Morning, Kingman. Well, I'm not trading it right here. Maybe it does a cup and handle around 3. But even then, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to pull away or not. Happy Friday indeed. Morning, James. Welcome. Yep, last day of July means that tomorrow is going to be my 1-year trading anniversary. So, been having a lot of requests for my hotkeys and setup in general, so I'll try to get a video done by tomorrow if I can for my setup and my hotkeys. So you guys can look forward to that. Quick 10% on this grassy field. At least you got it. Excuse me. Normally I mute before I cough if I can, but oh, so we pretty much roughly started at the same time then. A month away. I'm going to be waiting for this to pull away. UICU if it can. I don't know if it can. Relative volume on the daily is still light as well, because this is continuation from the previous day. Says that I have 0 dropped frames. Flagging? Maybe I'll restart the stream. I don't know why it would be lagging, other than maybe my internet is a bit choppy today. But analytics, stream settings. Fine now. But let me know if it continues. If it continues, then I'll restart the stream and see if that helps. Because my OBS says that it's fine, and my YouTube Studio says it's fine. Um, so it's double topping off the highs. MACD is very close to crossing. So I think that this is going to struggle and then maybe need a consolidation. If it holds up. I don't see a 200 moving average at 3.24. My daily says it's at 1177. Morning, Rafi. I'm good today. I kind of rolled out of bed and hopped on, but maybe I'll turn off my camera and eat my croissant, my breakfast that I brought down, since there's nothing happening right now. MACD's crossed over and CYC is probably going to take a little while to consolidate. That's the way I see it. We got a nice Friday. Probably take a nap at lunch for 30 minutes. But we do have to be cautious. Trading while we're tired isn't a very good thing. But it is for me, actually. I always used to perform better when I was tired, when I used to play games, because my hesitation would just disappear and I would just act, which is very odd. So being tired doesn't really affect my performance that much, usually. Sometimes it does. Depends on the level, I guess. But it's not like I can go sleep depriving myself to replicate that. Cheeseburger in the morning? I've never heard of a cheeseburger breakfast. That does sound good though. Yeah, I've heard some people say that you shouldn't drink coffee while, or caffeine in general, before you trade or while you trade. I don't know. I do it anyway, but caffeine doesn't really affect me that much. Maybe it affects me more than I think, but I've never really found that it did that much for me. I have to drink a lot of coffee before I get affected. I mostly just sip my coffee. I get you, momentum trader. Sometimes I do that too. It wasn't too long ago that I had some um I got a big box of hot wings from a nearby restaurant, and I only ate half of them late at night, and then I woke up the next morning and I'm like, I want the rest of those hot wings. I had hot wings for breakfast, so I'm not one to talk. In fact, thinking about it makes me want more hot wings right now. Not for me. My 200 EMA on the daily is 1177. I mean, my settings. If I zoom all the way out, it's 1177. It doesn't change just because I zoom out. And I mean, 1177 makes more sense to me because if you look at how high the stock is, right? Because it had a bunch of reverse splits, it doesn't make sense to me for the 200 EMA to be at 288 only. I could be wrong, but this does make sense to me at least. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why it's different. Yeah, it's I don't know why it does that. I remember it was a constant problem in Ross's stream as well, where everyone would have different 200 moving averages all the time. Dang, 15 Green Day streak. Crazy. Like if I go to Trade Zero charts, I open the daily for this. All right, let's do I have a 200 moving average on it? Moving average exponential. I'm gonna go to CYCU. This one's in blue, 200 visible. I mean, this one says 234. Like, can you guys see that? So, well, this is exponential moving average, not SMA. Yeah, well, I guess you guys should make sure that yours aren't simple moving average, but Trade Zero says 234, which is even higher than 1177. This is CYCU, right? Yeah. Although, is this correct? I don't know. It's just weird. By the way, am I still lagging on stream, or is it all good now? Okay, that's good. Oh, that's right, Vito. That is a definite possibility. CYCU has a 10 million share float, so gonna be a lot of grindy price action, I think. Guess I can take this. Well, we got 7:30 coming up in a second here. 30 seconds to 7:30. So let's watch for news. Maybe we get some news. Two-hour sleep is quite low. EZIO popping up there. Has ANT&T in the name. 12.5 million share float. We're right underneath the 200 moving average at 212. This one's going to struggle. It popped up over the 200 moving average for a second, and then it just got slammed back down. Even if it curls back up here, then it's going to have to contend with short sellers shorting off the 200. DFLI doesn't have volume. Strategic acquisition. What's up with these 12.5 million share floats? Oh, they're both AZIO and DFLI were both cheaper with higher floats. It doesn't look like there's anything particularly interesting at 7:30 unless AZIO can curl up and hold up over that 200 moving average. And it doesn't look like this has any volume. With scanners, my charts are TradingView, and my scanners are ChartsWatcher. Yeah, I probably just need to eat my croissant. I think it's croissant time. I'm just gonna turn off my camera so you guys don't have to watch me chowing down for a second here, but I'm still here. I'm just watching. I don't have any videos, but I'll be releasing a video tomorrow, which goes over my entire setup, which includes ChartsWatcher and my hotkeys. And I'll include a import code for my ChartsWatcher setup. I'm not gonna in the video. I'm not gonna go over explicitly how to set it up because I think there's plenty of other YouTube videos out there that explain how to set up ChartsWatcher if you want to adjust it or do it on your own. But I will explain my setup, my scanners, and put my import code in the description so you can import them and see what I have in like the columns and stuff. I'll try to get it released tomorrow because tomorrow is my 1 year trading anniversary. So see if I can get that video released tomorrow if I can. I recorded part of it a couple days ago. I've just been busy. I haven't been able to edit it or continue the rest of it. But it's the weekend, so even if there's a couple of people in here who want croissant eating content, I don't think everyone wants it. So it looks like we're really just kind of stuck right now. There's There's literally nothing on my watch list right now. QICU's sold off. It's below VWAP now. KUST, I mean, this is popping up. I don't know. I don't think that I'm interested in this. Kind of a pop and drop stock. Cheaper. I'm don't trade post market because I have a job, so I'm not available to trade post market, unfortunately. Otherwise, I might experiment with it, but that'll have to wait until I go full time if I ever manage to go full time. Friday, Friday being the end of the weekend, or not the weekend, end of the week. I think everybody barely wants to roll out of bed on Friday after going through Monday through Thursday of working. If most people here have 9 to 5 jobs and they get the weekend off. I'm gonna have something to fund my account though. And pay the bills. Trading isn't doing, yeah. Some people, yeah, I mean, some people love trading, but they still have a job on the side. They don't quit their jobs to trade. Trading is like a hobby and gives like some supplemental income. I would prefer to be able to be self-employed, and I would use my YouTube channel, and also I plan to do fiction writing, see if I can sell some fiction novels as my supplemental sources of income. So I'm not strictly relying on trading if I manage to go full time. Otherwise, it can be very stressful if trading is your only source of income when you enter drawdowns. So, how many monitors you got in your battle station, Momentum Trader? I'm just curious because I know there's some people that have like a billion side charts and stuff. I have a 4 monitor setup plus a 5th monitor for like entertainment stuff, or an extra on the side for looking things up on a separate PC. But I actually don't even really use my top 2 monitors that much, I found, with my current strategy. My top left monitor, I put some side charts on it, and it's useful sometimes, but I don't need any more than two. And two side charts. So my top monitor is pretty much just for YouTube recently. All right. Croissant is gone. 2 to 3 monitors for the Fisk. That's an interesting point that you make, because if you notice, my scanners, when I showed them, they're not very complicated. My setup isn't very complicated. Probably from a habit in World of Warcraft and some of the games that I played, where I prefer my interfaces to be basically only what I'm using. Like if I'm not using it, it's off of my screen. I don't have it there because it's just wasted space and it's extra information that clutters your view that you don't need. Columns. Let me get rid of this. In fact, I don't need that. Croissant achieved. And it is one thing people might underestimate. Like if I go to my screen share here, my display capture, I mean, this is my primary monitor, right? There's literally nothing on this screen that you see that I don't use. On my scanners, right? Time is important, symbol is important, price float volume, 5 pillars of selection, and how much volume it has. That's all important. Same with my order history and my position window, my second monitor, right? All of these scanners, I use everything here. But some people's setups, I see they have like a billion different, like they have short interest and they have this and they have that and they have like fundamentals and like extra fundamentals other than the sector and stuff. And it's really just wasted space and it clutters your screen. Same with the charts here. I mean, I use all of these indicators. I'm even thinking of removing some of them on the 1 minute, the 5 minute, and the 10-second. Because although they're there, I mean, do I really need them? They give some useful context sometimes, but it's something that I'm constantly watching. If there's something on my screen that I don't use, I get rid of it. Simpler is better in a lot of cases. So, and just because I have 2 extra monitors, like having 4 monitors, I don't feel like I need a billion monitors. I don't feel like I need more than just a couple of side charts right now. For my strategy, my scanners do most of the work. On my level 2 window, I would even remove these short and cover buttons, like some of these buttons here, but I don't think it lets me. I tried. 2 laptops, 1 Chromebook, and 5 monitors. Do you actually use all of those monitors, Momentum Trader? Hmm. That's interesting. Maybe someday I'll evolve and I'll have enough processing power to have like a surround sound of monitors, but my brain would get fried if I use too many monitors, I think. I seen some trading stations where they're in a cockpit and they got monitors behind them. They're like in a swivel chair. Like, how far do you need to go? It's like they're in the New York Stock Exchange. Yeah, I mean, if it works for you, it works for you, right? No one else can tell you otherwise. I'm not here to judge other people on their setups. I do think that it can go a little bit too excessive, but sometimes, but if it makes them feel like they trade better, then that psychology is important as well. They have like 30 monitors. But I tend to be more in line to agree with the Fisk. What he said. I try to minimize reaction time. Like anything that causes delay is removed. Try to make the process efficient. Send operatives into the matrix. Yeah, exactly. Penny stocks where it's grinding for pennies. Yeah, I'm not interested in penny stocks. MGRX I know is our leading gainer here. Kind of popping up. But if it's a penny stock day, it's gonna be a no trade day for me. One thing I was interested in, by the way, for setup purposes, like my setup was built for gaming, and then I just added the monitors with the monitor arms. You guys will see it when I show it tomorrow in my video. But there are certain things you can get for trading. Like there's a trading keyboard some people use. You could get it like you could get like a mounted trading keyboard, and then you can have it in front of you, like lifted with an arm. And it has buttons on it, I think. Buy, bid, sell, ask, take profit. there's some interesting things that you can get for a battle station. No, let me check YouTube comments. I rolled out of bed, so I haven't checked them since this morning. I think we're still good. We got about 3 minutes to 8 a.m. This thing's been sneaking up on us since the other day. What is going on here? AXTL and AXTU. It's like 500 shared blocks. Slowly bringing it up. It doesn't look like a normal company. I don't know. I'm not really sure what these are. AXTU, AXTX. They are shares 2x long daily ETF leverage shares. Hmm. Yeah, they don't have any floats. Some sort of ETF. AXT Inc. AXTI. It has something to do with this stock, AXTI. I guess these are ETFs for this stock. That's up over $63 right now. Been making this big move. So our scanners are kind of occupied by the same stock 4 times. On AXTL. Yeah, on AXTL there's no float. I mean, there's no float on any of the AXTL, AXT, or AXTX because they're all daily ETFs, I guess. So they're not the actual stock. The actual stock is AXTI, which is a 62 million share float. Yeah, I prefer not to use filters to weed this stuff out because I prefer having the context. Like if I open up TradingView, for example, is it going to show those? It will. So these are generally going to be the search results for some people. Well, actually, it's not showing, it's only showing AXTI, so it is actually filtering out AXTL, AXTU, and AXTX. So I guess confirm for me, does these stocks, like if I filter out zero floats on this chart, these are my leading gainers. Do these stocks show up for you guys in your scanners other than ChartsWatcher? I will remove them, I guess, if they're not showing up on other people's scanners. Like if I go to Trade Zero, is this going to show up on a top gainer scanner? Pro scanner, top list, percent change up. This is showing up. These are showing up on Trade Zero. They don't show up on Day Trade Dash. I don't know. Like for some argument, like you can make the argument that I prefer to leave them up so I get context, but I guess if you can't day trade them normally, then it doesn't matter if they're there or not. I guess I will filter out the zero floats then. Add that filter. Float needs to be greater than. Yeah, pennies are on the rise today. Oh, I traded this one a long time ago, back when I used pink, the man's color, for my horizontal lines. Do I trade penny stocks? No, I don't trade penny stocks. They move too slowly for me. Too grindy. Maybe. Or maybe these are related. Biotech, healthcare. Can't tell from the surface. Probably not. Probably not related. This is going to be banging up against the 200 moving average right here, up at 80 cents. So I think the fun on this one is probably going to be over. So 8 a.m. came and went, and there was nothing interesting. AZIO just, after it had that 7:30 news, it went red on the day. Am I green for the month? Let's see. Even if I am green, I'm probably not very super into the green. So, because last week was a $90 red week, this week was so far what was it? I had like 60 something bucks yesterday in the green, and then open up my YouTube channel. I haven't imported my metrics yet, so I have to look at my YouTube channel. $24. No, I'm slightly negative for the month. Last week was a really bad week. So I would have been green for the month if I could have taken any single one of those trades last week instead of being a doofus. Then I would have probably been green for the month. Because I was, for the first 2 weeks of the month, I was green. Just a small green, like 18 bucks. And then last week happened where I missed so many opportunities and ended with a big red week. But this week is green as long as I don't mess up today. I mean, overall for the month, it was like -$2 the first week, +20 the second week, net profit, -90 the third week, and then we're at +38 this week. If we get a trade today, then we do have the possibility of breaking even on the month. But I think it's a very low probability that that happens. Yeah, June was a hot month, but I did absolutely terrible in June because I had never seen momentum like that before and it didn't make any sense to me. So I couldn't capitalize on just jumping into the Chinese stocks. Everything looked risky to me. It was like I was in Vietnam and the trees were all speaking Vietnamese. ID'd the perfect bull flag yesterday, executed greatly. Thank you. If I can continue executions like that, then eventually I will be profitable. But it comes down to psychology, right? That's the issue, right, that I'm having. I'm capable of executing, and that's why my profit loss ratio is so like is decent, like it's very good compared to my accuracy. My accuracy is the problem that's keeping me inconsistent, and that's, if I had to point to one thing, is my psychology, which I'm trying to fix. You think MGRX is going to break $1, James? Yeah, it could. But the obstacle in the way is that we have this 200 moving average here at 80 cents. If it I would say if it breaks the 200 moving average and holds it, then it could get really interesting, and then it has the chance of breaking $1. 200 moving average is a pretty big obstacle. Same with a dollar. So it's got two pretty big levels of resistance in the way. But it does have a ton of volume, 8 million, 9 million, 10 million shares of volume on these 5-minute candles. So it's not impossible, but MACD is negative right now. It is up 160%. And it's the only thing moving today. We have seen it before. Yeah, maybe on CYCU. We just have to wait for it to pull away because it's still very thickly traded. I'm hopeful for August as well, James. And I mean, even if I don't get a trade today, I'm not going to force it just to try and get a green month. Like right now, red months or green months don't really mean anything while we're still focusing on the process. So I'm not going to force a trade today because I know that next month, if I continue with good process, that August has a very good chance of being a green month if I can continue doing what I did the other day. Those occasional bouts of like good execution can make that consistent. True. Winning the lottery would be nice. But I think trading provides more than just I think trading provides more than just money. I think trading provides a kind of career that you won't find anywhere else, that you can continue working towards and improving yourself with. So even if I did win the lottery, would I stop trading? No. Even if I won $10 million tomorrow, I'd be like, damn, well, if I get good at trading, maybe I could use some of that money to invest in myself. I don't really know what FCUV is doing. I don't see news on it. It's moving very quickly. There wasn't an entry for me here because the selling volume is higher than the buying volume. That's a pretty big selling candle. Pulls back from 4 all the way to 330. The problem is that I don't know what the catalyst on this is. AI news? Yeah, I see it on TradingView here, but I don't see it on Charts Watcher. Deterministic AI forms auto-populate engine. It must have just continued trading then. This is why this is popping up now, I guess, because it must have resumed trading activity. That's a pretty big selling candle there, the 10-second. Business document processing. Okay. Moving very quickly, but there's no setups on it for me. Okay, is this going to be a micro pullback? There's a base out, 680, 660. $10,000 share seller popping up there. This is already very extended. $7,000 share seller. I think this needs to do another 1-minute pullback. Fails to hold 680. The new low is 634. First candle make a new high is 750. I see some sellers popping up. False break there. Hmm. Close still 6:30. I have this candle 740. I see questions in the chat, but I'm watching this right now, so I'll answer them in a little bit here, but I'm continuing to watch to see if I can find an appropriate entry. We have decreasing volume on the 1 minute right now, which is a little bit of a problem. MACD's curling negative. I'm selling on that 10-second candle. Breaks anyways. Fails to hold 850. Hold 8. Hmm. Low of this green candle is 850. I was 916. Yeah, breaks through anyways. I'm trying to find an appropriate entry according to my setups, but a little bit difficult. We're a bit whippy. So there was significant support off of 825 there, but yeah, we're really whippy. It's kind of difficult to find a proper entry here when it's this whippy. We are creeping up here. False break of 10. So this pullback is 880. MACD is close to crossing though. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find an entry on this. Safe entry. I'm aware, like, yes, it's up 370%, but didn't particularly feel like there was anywhere here where there was actually like a safe entry. It was just, it felt too whippy. MACD's crossed over now. Maybe if it does a 5-minute consolidation and then curls back up, then I can get in for a breakthrough 10. But I'll start reading some comments here. Keeping an eye on this. Hello, started following you. Andre says, I started following you recently, saw that you use the same setting as Ross Cameron. What capital do you have? Around $2,000 is my account size. You know, a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on if I'm up or down on the week. What number of shares do I buy at once? It depends on the stock and the price action. If it's really whippy like this stock, I'll probably only buy 20 shares. If it's something that moves a lot slower and is grindier, I might buy 100 shares, 200 shares. Did I not trade FCUV? No, I didn't take any trades on this. I'll explain why in a minute. I have to watch this curl though. MACD's negative right now, so I might not even trade it even if it pops through, because it's probably going to be another false break of 10. Gotta jump off for a while. Hopefully get back after lunch. All right, take care, Momentum Trader. Congrats, Damien, on those trades. Hey, Tig. Got in 7.9, out 9.24. Nice trades, guys. Have a good one, Fisk. So we'll continue watching this. High was 1025 on that false break. Seems that we're holding $8 there. This is the high of the first pullback. Yeah, normally on a stock that's whippy like this is trading like a $10 stock right now. Since the float is so low and it's got like dollar per share ranges, I probably would trade just 20 shares and have a 50-cent stop. But just be aware that on a stock like this that has 10-cent spreads, like this has pretty big spreads. Um, if you try to get out, like if you try to push the button at 50 cents, you're going to get filled at 75 cents probably. There's going to be a lot of slippage on something like this. So I might aim for like 40 cents if I can. Like I would try to get in as close to support as I can and try to set my stop around support. As close as I can is probably going to be like 30 cents from support. And then I would try to aim for like 30, 40 cents stop, and then you probably get out around 50 cents. Can. Or you could size according to a 50 cent and then lose 75 cents. You could take 10 shares. Like even just 10 shares, for example, here from $6, like this pop here went from 6 all the way to 9. Like 10 share entry is still like $30. That's not bad. Capture the legs up. But I don't know. It's very difficult for me on whippy stocks like this. Like it's a bit too difficult to manage your risk. Congrats, K-Man. Yeah, I agree. Stock selection is really a big part of it that a lot of people underestimate because we trade with probabilities here, right? A lot of people think that they can that their efforts and their ability to read chart patterns and all that stuff is the main reason why they make money. But you can't really, the stock market can do anything at any time. It only takes one person to affect the outcome of any trade. And when you're trading in consolidation or on stocks that aren't in traders' focus, your edge only goes down. It only gets worse. So over a long series of trades, people who trade a lot of C quality stocks are going to get C quality results, right? Because that's just the way the market works in terms of probabilities. So I think stock selection is very important. But it depends on the strategy, what your stock selection is. This is still holding that $8 level. Now we kind of have a pivot above 914. I mean, let me explain why I didn't take any trades, right? So back here, I wasn't sure about the catalyst because ChartsWatcher doesn't show any news. And we also had this higher volume selling candle here. Like the selling volume was pretty close to the buying volume right here. I only figured out the news right before this broke, and it went from $5 all the way to $8 without giving a pullback. And this was already super extended, so I was thinking like, this is a pretty big pullback here. We need a 1-minute consolidation. But in the meantime, while it did this 1-minute consolidation, we had consistently high volume selling on some of these pops. And then we also had a false breakout right here. Like the 9 EMA was very far, so I didn't take this bull flag. So we had a false breakout. We had another false breakout. We had another false breakout. And then it finally comes back, touches the 9 EMA, but the previous selling candle was higher than buying candle. And you can see on the 10-second as well, as it popped up here, this selling candle was higher than the previous green candle. So there's no micro pullback entry for me here according to my setups. There's no confirmation for me to buy this. It pops up, pulls back, holds the 9 EMA, grinds higher. The only place that I would say that maybe I could have bought was right here on this candle. From 9.15 up to 10. But it's just so whippy with so many false breakouts. I just feel like I can't manage my risk on it very well. I'm not good at trading these type of stocks. And with my share size, like I can only buy 20 shares. By the time it's up here, it's already a higher priced stock. I would almost rather not trade it at all with how many topping tails this thing had. So that's how I felt about it. My 10-second VWAP is orange. Yeah. I think that this is a little bit outside of my wheelhouse for right now. The stocks like this, that move like this. The confirmation was for you was keeping the price. What I've done was wait for a few candle for candle to come near the 9 EMA. Yeah, I know what you mean. This candle right here was the confirmation for you. Right there. The tiny one that held. The initial 1-minute pullback. Well, once again, like if you look at this right here, like the selling volume, like this is a tweezer top, right? The selling volume is almost equal to the buying volume. And with a tweezer top. I think it was a tweezer top on the 5-minute as well, if I'm not incorrect. No, it wasn't. No, just on the 1-minute. 5-minute was all the way up at 8. So it was a tweezer top on the 1-minute. So for me, this wasn't an entry. But have a good one, Kingman. that's kind of how I feel trade core, is that just because this thing went up 300% doesn't mean that that there were any opportunities here for me, because it didn't give me an opportunity that aligned with my strategy. I'm not going to go adjusting my strategy and my entry selection to try and accommodate something that's moving this fast. The way to do that would be to develop additional setups. But I mean, there was no bull flag pattern for me here because it broke the previous low of the first candle. It was super extended. The ABCD was a false breakout, and then I mean, here was a extra candle. I mean, there was no 1 minute pattern here for me. There was no 1 minute pattern here for me. This was a tweezer top back here. So none of the 1 minute patterns were good. And on the 10-second chart, almost all of the good entries, like I would have looked for a micro pullback somewhere in here if it had given me one at the beginning of the move. But there was no micro pullback. The best entry would have been like here as it pulled back to VWAP, but I was just figuring out what the news was at this time. And it was also preceded by this big rejection candle here, and it pulled back from 5 all the way down to 4. So I was reading the news and worried that there was going to be just a complete rejection. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I really missed anything on this, for my strategy at least. Now, if it curls back up here, then maybe I could get in somewhere if it gives me something, if it gives me a micro pullback, if it continues to hold. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, what happened, Corey? Welcome, Small Wins. My win-loss actually isn't very good. My profit-loss ratio is what's better than my win-loss, because I can cut my losers and add to my winners, or let my winners run. So my win-loss percent in the past 30 days has only been like, I think it was like 35%, but my profit-loss ratio was like 3-to-1 or something. My accuracy needs some improvement, but overall over the past 200 trades, my win-loss has been hovering above like 45%, I think, last I checked. So I'm not a profitable trader yet. I'm like break even at best, losing on commissions, and after last week, I guess you could say that I'm unprofitable, because I had a $90 red week last week because of my psychology. So I'm pretty much an unprofitable trader, slightly better than average, but we're still focusing on the process and figuring out how to improve my accuracy. I feel like my stock selection, like you said, based on my entry criteria and my win-loss percentage, should be good. I think it should be. But like I have a tally on the side here that I've started keeping this week on how many opportunities I missed according to my strategy, and I missed 7 this week already. And I had missed like 5 or 6 last week that if I had took any of them that actually met my entry criteria, that would have had me a green week and would improve my profit or my accuracy overall. So I'm working on this hesitation right now so that I can take stuff that meets my entry criteria and my stock selection, So the more of those I take, instead of getting frustrated and getting in on the back sides of the move, where probabilities are less high, like it's less likely to work, then I think that over a certain number of trades and experience, I think that that should improve. Accuracy is something that can help improve with experience. And I think on this trade, I'm not going to put missed opportunity on my tally. I think I think we leave this alone. Just because it moved this much doesn't mean that there are necessarily opportunities on it. So I think I'm good. I think I don't have any FOMO on this. Like I said, we had 7 opportunities this week. That could have been a much bigger green week on stocks that aren't like this, aren't this whippy. In the future, though, I will have to add extra setups to try and include stocks like this. So if I had to add a setup to this, I mean, what would it be? Maybe a moving average pullback. Yes, that's exactly what I mean, Damien. Not missed opportunity, like it's an opportunity, of course. It's just it's not it doesn't fit my strategy, like my entry selection and stuff. So if I can add more setups into my strategy, then this might be a missed opportunity in the future. But for right now, I don't. This isn't a missed opportunity. Okay, so curling up here, MACD is still negative. I have to be careful of a false break here on this curl. Now, I technically don't have curling patterns in my strategy for my setups, but I have been doing better on them. So this might be a false break above 913. Usually what I see in these curling patterns recently is that it does one false break and then it kind of comes back down, holds the level, and then curls back up, and then it breaks through. So I'm wondering if it's going to do that. If it breaks 913, fails, or maybe it's going to fail right here. And the next time this curls up and breaks 913, then that's when we're going to have a squeeze back through high of day. I think if this continues to hold and this curls back up again and it actually breaks 913 with MACD turning positive, then I think that's my entry signal. For the curl. Because it would be a 5-minute breakout above 9. A lot of selling volume, yeah. Levels at 905 and 915. Yeah, the high of this 5-minute candle back there was 914. One thing I was thinking about is that maybe I have to get comfortable with um, buying into very quick price action instead of having to wait for the pullback. I noticed that sometimes Ross on his stream will just jump in on an entry while it's moving up. If it's moving very quickly, he'll just jump in with small share size, no pullback. But I think I have to get more experience before I can really identify a stock that's moving quick enough for me to justify that type of behavior. For right now, it's pullbacks are my entries. But if it doesn't give me a good pullback, then I miss the whole thing. I'm aware that there are like candle over candle micro pullbacks, which are the hardest ones to execute, where there's like a momentary pause. So I may need to add that in the future. When he knows something on the tape. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same with me, Phileas. I think a lot of traders have to work through the same thing, building that trust in themselves. For this stock, I was pretty zoned in, I feel like. But there wasn't any pattern that it gave me that I could jump in on. Like right here, for example, maybe this kind of, you see how there's a topping tail wick and a bottoming tail wick right there at around 5? If I look back at my recording, I bet you on the level 2 that was a micro pullback. Like that wasn't a normal micro pullback in the sense where it gave me some red candles. But that probably was like a momentary micro pullback on the level 2. That's probably something that I should look to work on in the future. Because that would have been a good entry if I could start identifying those momentary micro pullbacks in the midst of price action. The break of 5 was fine as well, I think, but this was the break of 5 and then the hold of 5. So pay for a little bit for confirmation. That's okay. Yeah, I would have to look on it on the level 2 for that. For really fast pullbacks like that. Not the charts. Oh, I bet you I almost guarantee that Ross traded this. I'll open up his stream. He probably bought early on in the move. Yeah, he did. But it looks like, well, his level 2 windows being, or not his level 2, his position windows covered right now, so I can't see how much he made on it. But he did trade it. Yeah, he made 62,000 on it. So comparisons are a killer, isn't it? This is a bit too cheap for me. ETOG. It is moving quicker than usual. Yeah, just a dump. $300 is great, Damien. It's just a matter of share size is the difference. Like me, for example, if I had taken 50 shares from that break of 5 all the way up to $9 or whatever it was, if you capture maybe even just $3 a share, trading 50 shares, that's 150 bucks. But 50 shares is 1/100th of the size that Ross typically trades with. So you multiply 150 bucks times 100 is 15,000 bucks with the Ross size that he traded, or the Ross's share size. I don't know what he traded there because there were multiple executions. I think he was trading with 4,000, 5,000 shares on that because of the bigger ranges. He traded smaller size than he usually does. Very nice. 200, 300 shares. So what I typically do, yeah, when I compare myself to Ross is I trade like, is this, what size would he normally trade the stock with? And then you would kind of multiply it by, multiply that share size by 100. So you could probably multiply your share size by 10 or 15. And that would be the equivalent of his share size. The difference between trading with real money as opposed to a simulator, well, the biggest difference is that you're not, your emotions aren't going to be as high because you're essentially trading with fake money. It's not going to get your emotions running like you are going to be doing with real money. That's the biggest factor. Some of the other factors are going to be things like fills and slippage. The simulator often is going to fill you at, depending on which one you use, you might have extra slippage on your fills. For example, if you use Webull, because Webull simulator is very slow. But if you use a decent simulator with fast speed, they're often going to fill you at whatever price that you fill the button rather than filling you incrementally. So you could have slippage in the sense that you get in higher than you intend, or you get out lower than you intend if it's slow. But if it's not slow, then it's going to fill you right away whenever you press the button. And then you won't have slippage. So you might have a difference of a few cents on your entries and your exits, which can add up a lot over time, depending on what type of simulator you use. But that's not a bad thing. You can still get a rough idea of what your accuracy is and your profit loss ratio is, even trading in a simulator. So it's not like a terrible issue. I think the psychology thing is more important, especially for people who don't take their trading seriously enough when they're trading in a simulator. For example, me, when I started backtesting strategy, at first I was very serious with it. Then I went trading with real money after I thought I got a decent handle on it. But after I traded with real money and I realized I was losing, and then I went back to the simulator, I suddenly felt like I couldn't take the simulator seriously anymore. It was hard for me to continue trading in the simulator because I knew that trading with real money felt so different. But it is an important stage in your journey as a beginner because you need to get confident with your executions. You need to get experience reading the level 2, doing technical analysis and all that stuff. Like, that's all important, and it shouldn't be done with real money if you're just gonna lose it. But at a certain point, you do have to move past the simulator stage to overcome the psychology part, which is the other half of trading, in my opinion. And if you trade with 1 shares, 10 shares, most confident entry on the 1-minute pullback tweezer top would be when the next green candle passed the height of the previous red wick. Like, that is true. Hey, Day Trading Joe. No trades on FCV. It was too whippy for me. Hopefully you got green on it. It is true, but the problem that I have is that I have gotten in on entries like that before. And like, where do I set my stop? Like, if I use the 1-minute chart as my entry, then technically I should be using the 1-minute chart for my stops, and it's $1 per share range from 488 down to 394. I could use $5 as my stop, but I have gotten stopped out in the past where it breaks $5 and then it immediately rejects. I suppose, like in this particular case, because it was up so much, I could just get in at 5, and then if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Where's $5 here on the 10-second? Like I said, I think the best entry for me would have been the break and the hold of 5 if I were to use the 10-second chart for my entry. Maybe I could call this a flat top break and then buy for the break of 5 if I were to use the 10-second chart. Break of 490. Like, where would I set my stop on this? Maybe just breakout or bailout mentality. Breaks 495. If it doesn't immediately go in my favor, we get back out. What do I think will happen to FCV when the markets open? Well, market open is 13 minutes away. Well, hold on here. I have to watch this if this is curling. Big 10-second selling candle. Ten seconds left on that 5-minute candle. Take a position for the hold of 9. Stop is going to be like 890. Give it some time to work for the curl. It's 20 shares. We're struggling a little bit. A lot of selling, a lot of red on the tape. We'll take some profit up here at 10. Take a little bit more profit. Because we're double topping. We are in the driver's seat, so we can hold this a little bit to see if it can actually break 1027. We still got lighter volume selling. Low of 975. I don't think I'm going to add up here because we're a little bit extended. I just want to see if it can break through. We got some sellers up there. I want to see what happens if it can bump up against that level again, against 1027. Does it reject? Because this could be a cup and handle here. Low is 960. I'm just going to take the rest because it's kind of rejecting. It broke 10 again and then rejected. So that was a part of my setup, so I took that trade. But only 20 shares because it's very high ranges. So my entry was, yeah, it ends up breaking there. But there's a lot of selling up there. Yeah, look at that false break. So we've seen this a number of times where we have a stock that makes a big move and then it has a long period of consolidation. It makes one attempt to break a pivot level, which is the 915 level, but fails. MACD is still negative, and then it holds, curls back up, and then when MACD turns positive and it attempts to break that level again, that's my entry. So my entry was around 9:15 after it came back up this 1 minute candle. So you can see on the 10-second here, I did a bit of a cup and handle. And I took the entry like right around 9:20. Yeah, just before that 1 minute candle or that 10-second candle closed for the break of 9, the break and hold of 9. So I thought that that was a good entry right there on that little doji candle. Yeah, lots of sellers up there. Lots of hidden orders. So I could have maybe taken 50 shares, but I mean, we're already almost at the end of the day, right? Like if I have a loss, I'm not going to have time to make it back. So, and this thing has huge range. So I just took 20 shares. 50 shares would have netted me quite a bit. Put me green on the month, but it doesn't really matter. We take what we're comfortable with. That's your second favorite setup? Nice. Yeah, I do like this setup. I don't have it in my Discord setups, but I think I'm gonna add it because I've seen it like 4 times now in the past month. So this is a curling pattern setup. All right, have a good one, Trade Core. He has a 15-point internal checklist. He's been trading for 20 years, so he probably goes through all of his checklists in an instant. I mean, MACD is still positive on this thing. New high is 1050. I don't know. We're 2.5 minutes to the opening bell. I think it's a little bit close to the opening bell to take a trade on this right now. So I don't know. I'm gonna wait to see what it does. But I don't even know if I want to trade this at the open. Higher price stocks at the open are gonna be even whippier. Other shoe go. There it is. By the way, I think I do need a new keyboard. I pressed the buy button, which is my enter button, and I had to press it twice because the first time it didn't go through right there. on that trade. So I think I need a new keyboard. I think my keyboard might be dying. $2,000 shares? I think someone might need to come to my house and like drag me away from my keyboard if I bought that much. Someone might need to tie me up. Might as well be throwing my money away at that point if I did that. Nope, just 20 shares. Oh, my lights are flickering. If I disconnect, then not because I just randomly dipped out. Sometimes when my lights flicker, like we get occasional like power surges, my internet might disconnect. It's because my Wi-Fi router loses connection. If it loses connection for half a second, then it'll rip on me. So we never trade the first 3 minutes of the opening bell as a rule. So, although this is making a new high right now, we have higher volume buying than selling. I'm not touching it. So it's bouncing off the 200 EMA on the 10-second right now. So I think I'll take after I end stream here, I'm going to take a screenshot of this setup and I'm going to include it to my setups in my Discord. This curling pattern setup. In particular. And I also need to think about including, well, maybe not yet. I have to do some level 2 studying to start jumping in on stuff as it's moving quickly. I'm okay with what I have right now. Yeah, I have a Black Widow keyboard, a Razer Black Widow with the mechanical keys. I've had this keyboard for a while. Damn 9 to 5 job always getting in the way. Hey, Corey. That's how I feel. Whenever I want to stick around at the open or I want to come back for after hours. While I work, sometimes I work from home and I keep some people who are trading after hours to the opening bell on the side. And I see these stocks moving and I'm like, gosh dang it. Can't trade it. Well, I've always been a little bit privileged in a certain sense, Center Star. Whenever I have something break, I just replace it with a new one. It doesn't really bother me to just buy a new one. I'm a little bit privileged in that aspect. But I'm also the type of person that I like buying new for the most part because I like everything being the best of the best. Kind of a perfectionist. So, and this keyboard at this point, I look at it from a life of use standpoint. I mean, I've had this for probably 3 years now. So it's had a good run. Nice job, Amira. This might be the time to shut it down. So, I mean, all of our top leading gainers except for FCV are penny stocks, and this looks like it's just stair stepping down now. I'm not interested in anything else really. I think we got our one trade for the day that actually had a setup for me that I liked. So although I missed the whole big squeeze in the front leg of the move, I'm not really too upset about it. It was very risky. And I think that I need to add more setups in the future to be comfortable taking positions on something like this that doesn't match what I'm looking for. So I'm not too upset that I didn't trade the front side. We got a little bit on the back side as on the curl, so I'm happy with that. Ending green on the week now between the $60 green day yesterday and this smaller $12 green day today. But we just have to remember that our green days are just a matter of share size, really. So I'm going to shut it down here. If you keep trading, manage your risk. And tomorrow I'll try to get a video out demonstrating my hotkeys and like my entire setup and stuff. I'll see if I can get that released tomorrow for my 1 year anniversary, and to thank everyone who's stopping by and supporting the stream, because we have, how many subscribers do we have now? 260. So quite a few people joined me in the last couple of weeks, which I'm grateful for. So, but yeah, putting it down. Take care, everyone. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you on Monday, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Peace.